In the frigid silence of a northern dawn, a soldier steps forward, calm, deliberate, unshaken by the storm ahead. For more than a century, Canadian warriors have carried this same quiet ferocity into battle, earning a reputation that echoes far beyond their borders. Their story begins long before global conflict, in a land where survival demanded grit. Early militias, forged in harsh winters and vast wilderness, learned to move with precision, endure with patience, and act with discipline. By the time Canada entered the First World War, this character was already written into the nation's bones. When the Canadian Corps arrived on the Western Front, few expected them to become one of the most formidable fighting forces of the war. But in the mud of Ypres, Vimy, and Passchendaele, something changed. Their commanders studied every inch of the battlefield. Their units drilled relentlessly. And when the whistles blew, Canadian soldiers advanced with a combination of speed, coordination, and sheer resolve that stunned allies and enemies alike. At Vimy Ridge, the impossible happened. Under a gray April sky in 1917, 4 Canadian divisions fought as a single unit for the first time. Artillery fire walked ahead of them like a living shield. Maps were memorized. Roles were precise. In just 4 days, they took a position others had failed to capture for years. And suddenly, the world took notice. Canadian soldiers weren't just reliable, they were exceptional. A generation later, in the Second World War, that reputation only hardened. In the dark streets of Ortona, Canadian infantry fought house to house, room to room, in a brutal struggle that became known as Little Stalingrad. Courage was measured not in sweeping advances, but in inches. Every corner cleared, every doorway taken. Their discipline held. Their momentum never cracked. Then came Juno Beach. On D-Day, the Canadians pushed farther inland on June 6th than any other Allied force. Under machine gun fire, mortar blasts, and shifting tides, they adapted instantly. Years of training, often underestimated, met the chaos of real war, and they prevailed. In Korea, Afghanistan, and dozens of peacekeeping missions, the same traits reappeared: calm under pressure, mastery of terrain, and a relentless commitment to the mission. Whether fighting in frozen hills or navigating complex urban conflict, Canadian soldiers proved again and again that the quiet warrior can be the most unstoppable kind. What made them so effective? Historians point to a blend of discipline and independence. Canadian units trained with precision, yet their soldiers were encouraged to think on their feet. Leadership often came from the front, not the rear. And because Canada relied heavily on volunteer forces, morale carried a different weight. These were men and women who chose to be there, who believed in the cause, and who fought for each other as much as for their country. Their environment shaped them too. A nation defined by vast distances and unforgiving seasons produced soldiers who were calm in crisis, resilient under hardship, and adaptable in the unexpected. This combination, discipline, adaptability, and quiet determination, created a fighting character that enemies found difficult to break. Today, that legacy lives on. Modern Canadian soldiers inherit the same spirit their predecessors carried across Europe and beyond: steady, skilled, and unshaken by the storm. Their story is not one of loud declarations, but of actions, measured, precise, and unforgettable. In the world's darkest hours, Canada's warriors stepped forward, and history remembers them not for the noise they made, but for the battles they won. If you enjoyed this journey through military history, consider joining us for the next episode, where another hidden chapter of the past comes to life.